You're listening to The Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the latest and greatest in sports as only he can. Follow him on Twitter at RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
Hello, sports fans! Welcome to another edition of the Jacob Valk Show. I am the Jacob Valk, and you're not. I've got to start with the big NBA trade that happened last night. The Grizzlies traded Eric Bledsoe back to the Clippers for Patrick Beverley, Rajon Rondo, and Daniel Oturu. If you'll recall, the Pelicans traded Bledsoe to the Grizzlies earlier in the offseason. That was in the Jonas Valanciunas trade. Bledsoe will never play a game for the Grizzlies. He will go back to where it all started for him. Remember Eric Bledsoe with the Clippers? Remember how bad he was? Bledsoe spent his first 3 years with the Clippers and did absolutely nothing for them. I mean, he was terrible. Then he went to the Suns and really turned his career around. I mean, we all know the player that Eric Bledsoe is, a really good two-way point guard. You've got to give Jeff Hornacek some credit for helping turn Bledsoe's career around. I mean, I understand that Hornacek wasn't a good head coach, but he was a really good point guard in his day. He knew what Bledsoe needed to do to become successful, and he got that out of him. I mean, this trade makes a lot of sense for the Clippers. I saw some people confused about it. They just drafted Keon Johnson. They just drafted Jason Preston. They just drafted Brandon Boston. Where are you playing Bledsoe? Here's what you've got to realize, though. For a team like the Clippers that just made the Western Conference Finals, you don't want to play a ton of rookies. You can play one, maybe two, but you can't go crazier than that. Also, think about it. Will any of those rookies become as good as Eric Bledsoe? Probably not. All due respect to him, I like him. I thought the Clippers had a solid draft. But Eric Bledsoe is a good starter in this league. And if he's going to come off the bench, he's a 6th Man of the Year candidate. I understand that Bledsoe did not have a good year last year. Okay, he really didn't fit with the Pelicans. That was a dreadful trade. It helped win the Bucks a title. It's how the Bucks got Jrue Holiday. But Bledsoe can still get the job done. I do think he'll turn it around. He's 31. I mean, think about this lineup that the Clippers can run out there. Eric Bledsoe, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Nicholas Batum, and Serge Ibaka. I understand that Leonard is going to miss a good chunk of the upcoming season. I don't think he's going to miss all of it. At least that's what we're hearing right now. Ibaka also has injury concerns, but still, when those guys come back, that will be one of the best defensive lineups in the NBA. I mean, here's what I'm more interested in. Who's going to start? Are you going to start Eric Bledsoe at point guard or Reggie Jackson at point guard? Or are you going to have one of them run shooting guard and move Paul George down to the 3? You could do that. That would work. That opens up a spot for Jason Preston. Getting Bledsoe back made a ton of sense for the Clippers. I didn't understand the people hating on this trade from a Clippers perspective. Having said that, though, I understand the people hating on this trade from a Grizzlies perspective. Because this makes absolutely no sense. Here was their rotation before this trade, excluding Eric Bledsoe. Ja Morant, Dillon Brooks, Kyle Anderson, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Steven Adams. Off the bench, you have DeAnthony Melton, Desmond Bane, Zaire Williams, Brandon Clark, and Xavier Tillman. Patrick Beverley and Rajon Rondo are not better than DeAnthony Melton and Desmond Bane. Flat out, they're just not. At this point in their careers, I would much rather have Bane and Melton. Part of what got the Grizzlies into the playoffs, and what makes them so exciting, is the fact that they have a really good young core. Morant, Brooks, Jackson, Clark, Bane, Melton, etc., etc. How do Beverly and Rondo fit into that? How can you tell me that Patrick Beverly or Rajon Rondo is better than Desmond Bane or DeAnthony Melton? You could have given me Bledsoe, okay? That would have made sense. Eric Bledsoe coming off the bench for Ja Morant, I have no problem with that. Patrick Beverly or Rajon Rondo coming off the bench for Ja Morant, I have an issue with that. I mean, I really don't like Beverly. He's one of those players that if he plays for your team, you like him, but since he doesn't play for my team, I hate him. He's very good at getting under your skin. He's like a mosquito buzzing around your ear. You just want to crush him. He infuriates you. He's very good in that role. I just don't like him. Anyone who plays that role, unless he's on my team, I don't like. I'm not trying to be a homer. It's just hard for me to watch Beverly play. I just don't like his game. If he was on my team, I'd like it, but since he's not, I don't like it. It's just that simple. If that makes me a homer, okay. Rajon Rondo at this stage in his career, can he still get the job done? The answer is yes. but he's not as good as Melton. You're not going to play Rajon Rondo anywhere else but the one. Who's the backup one for the Grizzlies? DeAnthony Melton. On no planet is Rajon Rondo better than DeAnthony Melton. The Grizzlies' offense is designed to get the ball in their point guard's hands and let him score. Rajon Rondo doesn't fit that role. He's never been a good scorer. He's a solid player. I like Rondo. I'm not knocking him. He just doesn't fit the Grizzlies. And Oturu, I understand bringing him in. You want to get a little front court depth? I have no problem with that. I'm not willing to give up on him. He really didn't get a chance to show what he could do last year. You want to give him a chance to unseat Tillman as backup center. I'm okay with that. I mean, I like Tillman, but no one's going to mistake him for Marc Gasol anytime soon. I don't mind the Grizzlies bringing in Oturu. What I have a problem with is them bringing in Beverly and Rondo. It makes no sense. You can't tell me that this was the best package you could get for Eric Bledsoe. You want to tell me, oh, Jacob, the Grizzlies are going to buy out either Beverly or Rondo. You'll get your wish. You'll get to see Beverly on the Nets. That's all well and good, but that just makes this trade worse. There had to be some other team out there that would give you something better than this. Not a mosquito, a pass-first point guard, and a center who God only knows if he's going to make it in the NBA or not. This is a terrible trade by the Grizzlies. It makes no sense. As for the Clippers, they got a lot better with this trade. They cut some payroll, so their luxury tax payment will be lessened. This is a really, really good move for the Clippers. Alright, now I'll give you some MLB Valk talk. And I'll start with the no-hitter that was thrown on Saturday night. For the first time since 1953, a pitcher making his first career start in the majors threw a no-hitter. Tyler Gilbert of the Arizona Diamondbacks. A guy who 99% of Diamondbacks fans wouldn't know if he came to their house and delivered them a pizza, threw a no-hitter against a really, really good Padres team. A pitcher throwing a no-hitter in his first career start in the majors has only happened once in the past 120 years. On May 6th, 1953, Bobo Holloman of the St. Louis Browns threw a no-hitter. In case you're wondering, he no-hit the Philadelphia Athletics. I don't care if you're a Padres fan or not. You've gotta love the fact that Gilbert threw this no-hitter. Here's a guy who was such an afterthought that the Philadelphia Phillies let Gilbert go unprotected in the Rule 5 draft, but not even the Major League portion of the Rule 5 draft, the Triple-A portion of the Rule 5 draft. The Phillies didn't think highly enough of Gilbert to even say, you know what, we'll leave him in Lehigh Valley all year. The Diamondbacks said, we'll take him. We'll let him play in Reno. He played well, got called up, appeared out of the bullpen a few times, and then, because of necessity, not merit, necessity, this guy starts on Saturday night against a really, really talented Padres lineup. Everyone's thinking that the Diamondbacks are going to get shellacked. It doesn't matter that the game is at Chase Field. The Padres were minus 230 entering that game. It doesn't get much worse than that. I mean, even when the Diamondbacks got to Joe Musgrove and they led 5-0 after 1, you didn't feel great about that game from a Diamondbacks perspective. Oh, the Padres are going to come storming back. They're going to come back. They're going to win this game. All you did was tick them off. But the Padres just couldn't get anything going against Gilbert. The only guy who reached base was Tommy Pham. He walked 3 times. If it wasn't for him, Tyler Gilbert would have thrown a perfect game. A key moment in this game happened in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Diamondbacks are up 7-0. It seems like they're going to win this game. They have runners on the corners, 2 men out. Gilbert grabs a bat. It looks like he's going to hit. There was a sense that Torey Lovullo would pinch hit for Gilbert. But then you saw Gilbert dig in against Miguel Diaz. Great. Fantastic. He's going to start the top of the 8th. He's 6 outs away from a no-hitter. One other thing that's worth mentioning, Gilbert kept his pitch count low the whole game. Entering that at-bat, he had thrown just 88 pitches through 7 innings. It doesn't get much more economical than that. There was no good reason for Lovullo to pinch hit for Gilbert. I'm glad that he let Gilbert swing. Yes, he struck out, but the Diamondbacks were up 7-0. You can live with leaving runners on the corners in that spot. If you're only up 1-0, okay. I understand going to a pinch hitter. Even if Gilbert was throwing a no-hitter, in that spot, if you were down 1-0, I'd understand the logic. 7-0, you can manage it differently. You can do right by Gilbert. It was the right decision by Lovullo. So the top of the 8th hits. Due up for the Padres are Austin Nola, Eric Hosmer, and Will Myers. If you can get Gilbert's pitch count up, maybe you can knock him out of the game. Maybe you'll have better luck against the Diamondbacks bullpen. I'm not saying you're going to come back and win, but maybe you won't get no hit. Instead, on the first pitch, Austin Nola flew out to the left fielder, David Peralta. Hosmer grounds out to the shortstop, Nick Ahmed. And Myers flies out to the center fielder, Ketel Marte. If I didn't make myself clear, all three of those outs were made on the first pitch. Tyler Gilbert only threw 3 pitches in the 8th inning. So he entered the 9th inning with just 91 pitches thrown. After that, you had a sense that Gilbert was going to do the impossible. He gets Trent Grisham to strike out. He gets the pinch hitter Ha-Sung Kim to strike out. And he gets Tommy Pham to fly out to Marte on the first pitch. Tyler Gilbert entered baseball immortality. There have now been 8 no-hitters thrown in the majors this year. That ties the record that was set in 1884. So one more no-hitter, doesn't matter by who. Garrett Cole, Chris Bassett, Walker Buehler, Max Scherzer, it doesn't matter. One more no-hitter thrown this year, and we will have the most no-hitters thrown in a season in baseball history. And it couldn't have happened to a more deserving person. Here's a guy who's 27 years old. Doesn't pitch at all last year. Probably thinks his major league dreams will never happen. He actually spent last year as an electrician. He gets a shot with the Diamondbacks. They say, hey, we'll take you in the AAA portion of the Rule 5 draft. Produce in AAA, we'll call you up to the majors. He comes up and throws a no-hitter in his first major league start. I smell a movie. By the way, speaking of movies, I finally watched Field of Dreams. Saw it on Friday. Very, very good. You've got to feel so happy for this guy. Of the 8 no-hitters thrown this year, this is by far and away the best one. It beats the Musgrove no-hitter, the Kluber no-hitter, the Rodon no-hitter, whatever no-hitter you want to throw out there. This no-hitter that was thrown on Saturday is by far and away the best one that we've had all year, and one of the best of all time. I'm not talking about in terms of performance. I'm talking about in terms of story. I'm telling you, if this movie gets made, I'm buying a ticket. Congratulations to Tyler Gilbert. I'll stay in the NL West to talk about Brandon Crawford's extension. He signed a 2-year extension with the Giants for $32 million. This is a really, really good move for the Giants. Brandon Crawford has actually been one of the most underrated shortstops in baseball for a really long time. Here's a guy with 2 World Series rings. He's a 3-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner. But when you think of the best shortstops in baseball, who do you think of? You think of guys like Trey Turner, Francisco Lindor, Corey Seager, Trevor Story, Gleyber Torres. I'm not talking this year. I'm talking throughout the last few seasons. It would take you a while to get to Crawford. It shouldn't. He's a good player. Really good at driving runners in. Really good defense. Shows up in the playoffs. He's a really, really good player. This year for the Giants, he's hitting .298 with 19 homers and 69 RBIs. Odds are that he's going to set a career high in average, a career high in home runs, a career high in RBIs. The Giants had to keep him around. He's an integral part of their success. The Giants are the best team in baseball. And you can make the argument that Brandon Crawford is the best hitter on the Giants. Great job by them in locking him up. Moving on now to the Predators, signing Juuse Saros to a 4-year extension worth $20 million. And this is a great move for the Predators. Saros has proven that he is the Predators' goalie of the future. The Predators did something that's very hard to do. They went from one franchise goalie to another very, very quickly. You want to tell me it's too early to call Saros a franchise goalie? I disagree with you. Saros went 21-11-1 last year with a .927 save percentage and a .228 goals against. He got Hart Trophy votes. He got Vezina Trophy votes. To go from Pekka Rinne to Juuse Saros as seamlessly as the Predators did is nothing short of incredible. Saros is the guy. He's going to be with the Predators for the next decade. This is a great move by the Predators. It makes perfect sense. And you've got to commend Rinne for being as willing as he's been to take a step back and say, yeah, Saros can take over as the starter. I'll take a back seat. I know that I'm not as dominant as I've been in the past. Job well done by the Predators. I'll close this show out by eulogizing a former Jets head coach. That, of course, is Joe Walton, who died yesterday at the age of 85. Joe Walton is the fourth best coach in Jets history. The Mount Rushmore of Jets head coaches is Weeb Ewbank, Bill Parcells, Rex Ryan, and Joe Walton. It's not Walt Michaels. It's not Herm Edwards. It's not Al Groh. It's Joe Walton. You may be saying, well, Jacob, that's really not a good thing, because Joe Walton wasn't a great head coach. Show some respect, okay? That's my team you're talking about. You're right that the Jets don't have a good history. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they do, but still, Walton is on the Mount Rushmore of coaches for an NFL team. That's pretty impressive. And it helps him that it's my team. Here's a guy who grinded his tail off to make it in the NFL. He worked his way up through the Giants organization, then went to the Redskins, became their offensive coordinator. Then in 1981, Walt Michaels hired him as his offensive coordinator. With Walton as the offensive coordinator, the Jets really turned things around. They didn't make the playoffs from 1970 to 1980. In Walton's first 2 years with the Jets made the playoffs. They played half a good game against the Bills in 81, shades of what happened against the Steelers in the Jets' last playoff game. Then the year after that, the Jets steamrolled the Bengals in the wild card round. They beat the Raiders in the divisional round. Then they faced the Dolphins in a rain-soaked Orange Bowl. We are not going to talk about what happened in that game because A.J. Dewey is still going. A few weeks after that heartbreaking loss, Michaels resigned as Jets head coach. The Jets decided to stay in-house and hired Walton as their head coach. In Walton's first couple seasons with the Jets, they weren't great. They went 7-9 both years. Then in 85, with Ken O'Brien taking over and Walton really helping him out, the Jets went 11-5 and they made the playoffs. They lost to the Patriots in the wild card round. The year after that, they went 10-6. They beat the Chiefs in the wild card round. Then in a double overtime classic, it really is, if you're impartial, Mark Mosley and the Browns beat the Jets 23-20. Mosley really came through when the Browns needed him to. He was helped by a Mark Gastineau roughing the passer penalty. Really heartbreaking loss. That was the high watermark of Walton's head coaching career. In 87, the Jets went 6-9. In 88, the Jets went 8-7-1. If Walton had left after that season, he would have had a winning record. He would have been 49-45. He would have been one of only 3 people. So it would have been 4 to have at least a .500 winning percentage as Jets head coach. The 3 men, Bill Parcells, Al Groh, and Sammy Baugh. Now, in all fairness to Walton, there was no way that he could have known that the Jets were gonna implode the way that they did in 89. They went 4-12. Ken O'Brien was dreadful. Freeman McNeil got hurt. Al Toon got hurt. Johnny Hector did nothing. It was a really bad team. Walton was fired after that season. He was replaced by Bruce Coslett. Walton then went to the Steelers as their offensive coordinator. He was Chuck Noll's last offensive coordinator. Then in 1993, Walton was hired as the first head coach of Robert Morris University's football team, the Colonials. He built that team from the ground up. They went 115-92-1 under Walton. They won 6 Northeast Conference titles. He's in the Robert Morris University Athletic Hall of Fame. He's in the Northeast Conference Hall of Fame. I mean, give Walton credit. He was a good NFL head coach. Wasn't great, but wasn't bad. I would use the word good to describe him. And he was a really good college football head coach. There aren't too many people that you can say that about. After Pete Carroll and maybe Bill O'Brien, if I'm just counting the coaching, not the personnel decisions, I'm drawing a blank. May Joe Walton rest in peace. New York Yankees show comes your way tonight. Regular episodes of the Jacob Valk show come your way every weekday afternoon. Until next time, I'm Jacob Valk, and always remember, if you disagree with me, you're wrong.